the school, and the parents after the meeting, during the meeting, the parents say, I don't blame you. I don't blame the school. And I'm like, oops, why you don't blame me and you don't blame the school? And this thing happened after school. And we found out that the child went to the CC and used the internet and sent obscene photos to the classmates. And now my action is, the next day I deleted all the things from his account and the classmate accounts, all the photos, and report to the school management. And I told the child, do you know that this is there is an obscene act? Actually, I do not know much about this. Maybe Miss Lai, would you tell us more about this? Is this because he is a 20 years old child, young man? So any obscene act that really that we can tell him? Thank you.
Yes, there is distribution of it is of obscene act. Basically distribution of sexually explicit images and videos. So that applies to that there are consequences. I can't remember. Basically, consequences would probably be jail or fine. And because this guy is 20 years old, so he would, it basically applicable to him. Yeah. I think just to expand on this, for parents, one thing we have to take care of is sexting. Have you heard of sexting? Basically, sending sexually explicit photo of yourself, and a lot of young people do that nowadays. They take a selfie, a photo of themselves, maybe topless or something, and they send it to their friend or their girlfriend or boyfriend. But they haven't realized that, they may not be that person's boyfriend or girlfriend, right? And what happens to the photo? And I think a lot of kids have to be told of the consequences, that there's this act, and that they could be charged for basically I suppose sending pornographic materials. And it's worse if the kids are under 16 years old, because that would be child pornography, which is actually harsher penalty. So I think a lot of children don't understand the implications, the consequences of these things.
Sorry, Ms. Lai. So, because the photo is with me, I'm the only person that have the photo now. I did forward it to my principals, and the victim himself, the parents are very, very concerned, because this kid that receiving the obscene photo, he seems confused after that. Okay, we are under counseling now, and the parents talking to me, the victim's parents talking to me. If they really want to pursue this thing, how should they go?
Maybe we can take it offline later.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mifa. I'm going to toggle between seeing the real person out there, and because I have about 3 questions here. I will ask Madam Rashida. This is specifically to a slide that she has shown, and the question is, may I know more about the 3 games, 2 hands, and 1 term mentioned in the slide?
Okay, this is just an example of one of the instructions that we gave to our pupils during the Safer Internet Week, when we put in actually games into the laptops at the cyberspace, and we tell the children that when you go onto the log on, you must make sure that you complete 3 games, right? Make sure you use both hands, because we really want them to learn how to continue to use touch typing skills, and you make sure you just focus on 3 games within 1 term. So we thought we use the numbers 3 to 1 for the children to remember. Basically, that was it. Thank you.
Thanks. That's a very MOE thing, 3 to 1. Anyhow, there's 1 question, I was going to say targeted, addressed to Nicholas by Mr. Albert Lee. This is about at-risk students. He says that many at-risk students may have some form of learning difficulties like dyslexia. So what types of 21st century skills do they especially need? I suppose our principal will also be able to answer. So I'll pass it to Nicholas.
I think specific to skills, Rashida is the better person to talk about this. This is where I'm very proud of Singapore, because Singapore has evolved quite significantly, and when it comes to supporting special needs, we've come quite far. So when it comes to what are the 21st century skills, there are a lot. In fact, there's a Dyslexia Association, there are therapists out there, they're able to support. There are loads of information out there. I am not trained in supporting dyslexic children, right? But we can appreciate this if I say that all kids at the stage of development, we know what they need. Regardless of whether they are ADHD, dyslexic, you name it, they have that need there, inevitably. The question here is, even if they have, in this case, to answer this question, right, if he or she has dyslexia, how can you engage him or her to be able to find and be willing and open to get help and support? That's most of the time a critical thing, right? Because if it's not attended to at some point in time when they enter secondary school, if they're dyslexic and as they have actually gone through the cracks, try to get help for them can be quite tough. Because when they start responding deliberately, they can be quite averse because they're saying that, why am I so special, this is very weird, my friends are there, I'm like, this kind of support I don't need, and they become more averse to it. Right? So if you understand where they are at, you'll be able to better engage them and give them a lot more support. Right? Specific to the skills, I think I'll let Ashita talk about this.
We do have dyslexic kids in our primary schools as well, joining the mainstream schools. And we treat them just like any other kids because we do have also teachers or allied educators who can help these children in their learning. So either the allied educator takes them out, these are allied educators for learning and behavioral support, takes them out of the mainstream classes and do extra lessons with them. So the same kind of skills they need will be the same that we give out to all the other pupils because basically they also children will need to go through primary school, secondary school and so on. So 21st century skills like being able to solve their own problems, being able to surf the net, we do the same for these children. Yeah, so but like what Nicholas says, they may have difficulty with the language bit. So there are already strategies which the allied educators for learning and behavioral support are using in helping these children be able to cope with a lot of words and so on. Because these kids, when they see a lot of words, they can get a bit confused. So 21st century skills are just as important for them as they are for the other mainstream children. And we treat them no different from the other mainstream kids.
Two questions that are related. One is about primary schools not being primary students, because Rashida said that they are not supposed to have FB, Facebook accounts. The question is it a requirement from school or MOE or school? Actually, it's not. It's just that Facebook has a policy where, kids should be 13 and above before they can sign up. But we find that a lot of kids under 13 actually go on Facebook and sign up. And sometimes parents help them sign up. It's very easy. They just change their date of birth, right? And then they're older. And they go online. So really that is, if you are helping your kid sign up, then you have to think and ask yourself, are you actually telling your kid it's okay to lie? And there's a reason why kids are not supposed to go on Facebook, because Facebook realizes that, it's a platform for communicating with lots of strangers out there. Is it the right platform for kids? Right, so when your child is on Facebook, then you have to make sure that your child understands the implications of being on Facebook, that people can actually see what they're posting, what they're writing. Key thing is Facebook has got privacy settings. Help them to use that privacy settings. Set it to friends only, and even then friends only, don't just add anybody and everybody as friends as well. Right? Just because it's set to friends only doesn't mean they can post sensitive or personal information, because it's very easy to screen capture these postings, and before you know it, it goes viral, right? Anton Casey's point, his viral post, that was his privacy setting was private. It still went up to the room, right? So some of these things kids need to understand if they're using social media. What's the privacy settings? I think the other question is, what's the difference between Facebook and blog? And I understand that schools encourage blog contributions to cultivate writing and expression in students. Facebook is basically more for interaction. They post their thoughts, but it's one-liner, two-liner. They are actually looking for interactions and feedback from other people. Blog is really like an online diary. You can write pages of it, expressing, what you feel about things. I think the key thing again is blogs can be made private or public. It could be for your eyes only. You use it really like Or you could, and a lot of young people do that, you could make it public for the world to see because they want to know, they want the world to know what they're thinking, what they're feeling. And most of the time it's okay, I don't think it's a big problem. The problem only comes when your child is not able to handle criticisms. So they may say something on a blog and somebody replies and says, I disagree with you, or I think you're stupid, you know? And how do they handle those criticisms? And I think that's social emotional learning. That comes down to how you as a parent actually help your child deal with those situations. And if you feel that your child does not have that emotional maturity to actually make blogs public, then you have to tell them that, right? That maybe, you know, you start off with, you know, so really it's about the personality of the child and how your child, whether your child is resilient enough to handle these things. Some kids are okay, they say that, you know, it's okay, they can say whatever they want, I just want to express myself. I'm not really affected by all these negative comments. Then, you know, for kids like that, it's all right, right? But so how will your kid actually react? So they have to understand that if they make blogs, postings public, then how will they react? Ask them, you know, if somebody has anything negative to say, how will you feel? So that's for you to judge how you want to take care of that social emotion.
Thanks. I think we only have time for one question, one last question. This is about kids who are addicted to games. Yeah. So the question is, my child is on the computer all day after school and fails to do his homework. I get complaints from his school. So guess who will get the question? I think I'll ask Nicholas first about addiction, possible addiction.
When you use the word addiction, you would understand what it means, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the assumption here is addiction, right, is that they are on it for so long that their life is affected, they cannot sleep, you know, their schoolwork is affected, if they don't hand up schoolwork, you know, they don't go out of the house, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so addiction is understood as that. Okay, so if that is the case, then you need to get help. Some modification of the household rules need to happen. Some having to sit the child down and talk about the circumstance and presenting the evidence of what you're seeing. Sharing observation has to be communicated to the child, right? And certain firm decisions have to be made, right? Jointly with the child. Where possible, you need to engage teachers, right? Other family members to support. Okay, so addiction is like you repeatedly do something, right, and it gets there, and then basically the connections in the brain are all fixed. It can be always undone, right, by doing the reverse. So you can get them to get addicted of not playing computer games by doing things repeatedly, right, and get them out of it. Okay, yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add, really, if it's addiction, sorry, I think you need to see a professional counselor. Yeah, if it's addiction, I think what we're talking about here could be excessive use. If it's excessive use, then you know it's the tips that Nicholas was saying about it. But addiction really it's about counseling.
Sorry, because this is quite a mental health thing, right? So it's determined as an addiction. It's a diagnosis. So you really need clinical help on that. Okay?
If it's excessive use, which we see a lot of in schools, then you can approach the school counselor, because every school has one, and talk to the teachers. The teachers will then refer the child to the counselor, and definitely we can help. Because these kids, especially at this age, primary school age, they still can go by logic, right? So that was what we found too. That in a primary school, when we talk to the children, we make them see sense. We tell them of the consequences. We go to the logical way. They always will listen to us. Only when they reach the secondary school, there's a different approach, please.
There's also a place for referral to external agencies that specialize in addiction issues like touch, cyber wellness, and of course, NAMS, National Addictions Management Systems, NAMS, and of course you can always go to Nicholas to, oh yeah, I'm selling that. Anyway, thank you very much for your wonderful participation. I think we will have a little time if you'd like to come to the front, if you'd like to address your questions to one of us, we'll be most pleased to do that. So have a good afternoon and a lovely weekend.
Before you go, parents, thank you so much for your participation here. We need you to fill in the feedback form to get your feedback and your understanding. So before you go out, do fill it up, and then you can pick up your bags, the goodie bags at the door. We'd like to also thank the speakers here for their time and their expertise in answering the questions, Mr. Lim, Ms. Lai, and Madam Rashida. And also thank you to Dr. Song for facilitating the session. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Karen.